Hey guys, it is Brian from Crackbrain coming at you with more Everlasting Summer. If you hear a little motorized noise in the background, just ignore it. I am doing a commission piece going through. But last time we actually met some of the girls and I attempted to do voices. Never a good idea. So we're going to do a little bit of a drinking game. If you could do drink water, drink alcohol, or something like that. But we're going to do a tally of how many times I say going through. Some friends pointed out while we were recording a game that how many times I say going through. And listening to the last recording, I said it quite a bit at the beginning, but luckily there's a script going through. I just did it again, holy cow. I'm going to do my best not to say going through, but we're going to do this all videos. Just, do a tally of how many times I say going through. But we just walked out of the cabin after taking our winter coat off, so let's keep going. Passing the local residential district, I saw a pioneer girl coming my way. That is not a girl. And it was really a pioneer guy, not a pioneer girl. Apparently, there are men even in this kingdom of Amazons. Hello, you're new here. You must be Simon, right? And how do you know? Everyone knows already. This is like Pokemon names. I'm Electron Nick, by the way. The real one. You can call me that. The real one? Was a robot character appearing in popular Soviet and beers. He looked the exact copy of a school called Electron Nick. The real one. Things were going from crazy to completely insane. Alright. Yulin also calls me Cheesy. Cheesy? On toast with mushrooms. Because my last name is Cheesegalov. I see. Let me show you around. I accepted his offer as it would have taken much longer to get to know this place alone. Fine, let's go. We ended up at that square again, as if this place was all there is to this camp. Lennon was sitting on one of the benches, reading some book. Electron confidently approached her. Hello, Lena. Meet the new guy, Simon. He started briskly. Hello. Well, you could say we've already met in a way. Yes. She looked away from the book for a moment, glanced at me, blushed, and went back to reading, as if not noticing that we were still here. Alright, let's go on. I was at first surprised that meeting this girl reduced to a couple of words, but then I thought that it was better this way. Electron vigorous activity did not fit well with Lena's shyness. Let's go! Next we came to a building which I instantly identified as a canteen. And this here? I know, this is where you consume organic food. Yeah, something like that. On the canteen's porch stood the unfriendly girl who hit me on the back. That was friendly. She's just saying hi. Stop being such a pussy. At the sight of her, my joking mood vanished in a blink of an eye. Really, now is not the best time to be pulling this guy's leg, even though he's quite hilarious. First, I need to figure out what's what here, or at least where I am. Hey, her, over there, that's Alyssa, blah, blah, blah. Be careful around her. He spoke in a whisper. Don't ever risk calling her Jivcha. She doesn't like that. Diva means two, and the whole nickname sounds exactly like a two-channel in Russian. Or reference. I don't know what that is. What did you say? What did you call me? She must have heard him. In the blink of an eye, Alyssa jumped down from the porch and dashed towards us. Alright, you manage from here onwards. Electron took to his heels. I'm not gonna do anything. Alyssa, running past, stopped for a moment and growled. I'll deal with you later. Deal with me? What did I do wrong? I added a forced, guilty smile to my words. But what am I guilty of? She made no reply and carried on chasing Electron. Looks like I'll have to kill time alone, waiting for dinner. I decided to go east. At least in the direction where east would be in my world. Soon after, I found myself near a football pitch. That's soccer, if you want to know. The game was in full swing there. I guess watching it for a bit wouldn't do any harm. In my childhood and teen years, I was not a bad player myself, and even thought of going professional, but a few injuries in a row killed my desire to risk my health for the sake of uncertain chance in the game. Kids of different ages were running around the pitch. I could see a boy of about 10 and a girl of about 14 years old. A girl? Hey, that's you, Lilina. Alright, so she plays football. What's so surprising? She seems a restless one after all. I was standing quite far from the pitch, but she still noticed me. Oh, I just had paint fall down. If you heard that little nudge. Hey, you! Yulin shouted. Wanna play? I didn't know how to answer. On the one hand, running around for 10 minutes is no big deal. On the other hand, any wrong move in my situation could be my final one. Wow, this guy's a wimp. But in any case, my attire wasn't suitable for this weather. If I played in winter boots and warm jeans, I would sweat like a pig. And playing barefoot without jeans would be simply unethical. Well, without the jeans, not the barefoot. Maybe another time, alright? I shouted in response, turned around, and walked back. I was followed by unit screams about my pants, or about me being a pansy, something like that. I'm gonna go with pansy. Evening was falling, making me feel tired and empty after a day wasted with no real purpose. I came back to the square, sat down on the bench, and gave an exhausted sigh. The sound of the pansy sighing. I'd better sit here and wait for dinner. After all, it's easier to search for answers when you're not hungry. They do give food to the people here, right? You know, it's curious how the simplest human needs can break the will to ponder on things, to strive for something. Why has this guy needed to go to the bathroom yet? It's been like all day. For example, I feel hungry now, so I care much less about where I am or what is happening to me. Could great people also be affected by this? And in that case, how did Spartacus start the slave uprising in ancient times? I can only conclude that I am not a great person, and it does not really matter which mechanism I serve as a gear in. Society, the Matrix, or a weird pioneer camp. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of bells chiming from a loudspeaker on a light pole. It must be the dinner call. I headed towards the canteen. It was a good thing that I knew where it was. Olga was there, standing on the porch. I stopped and looked closely at her as if I were expecting something. She looked back at me for a while, but at least came closer. Simone, what are you waiting for? Come in already. Guess nothing bad can happen if I go with her. My stomach backed me up here. The two of us went inside. The canteen looked like a canteen. Look at, there's people everywhere. All different colored hairs. It's mostly blondes. Must be Nazis. I'd had a chance to visit a factory canteen at some point in my life. This one was exactly the same, just maybe a bit cleaner and more modern. Metal chairs and tables, glazed tiles on the walls and on the floor, unsophisticated tableware with an occasional crack. Guess that's what a canteen in a pioneer camp is supposed to look like. Simone, wait a moment. We'll find you a place to sit. She looked around the place. Da-da-da-da. Hold it right there. Olga shouted at Alyssa, who was passing by. What? What's up with your clothes? Anything wrong with them? Indeed, her attire looked somewhat provocative. Get your uniform nice and neat right now. Alright. Alyssa got her shirt right and walked past, shooting an unpleasant glare at me. So where can we find you a place to sit? There weren't a lot of free seats. Go over there, next to Elena. Maybe I... Yeah, it's fine. The food's already on the table, too. I had no other choice but to accept. Of course, there was probably that the cutlets were poisoned with curate, the mashed potatoes generally seasoned with arsenic, and the glass filled with excellent antifreeze instead of compote. Compote is tea? But it all looked so tasty that I had no chance to resist. Hey, what do you want? Oh, I do two different voices in the same voice. I replied rather rudely to Elena, "Why are you such a mean to the girl? Why don't you play football with us?" "Because of my clothes," said I, pointing at the source of the problem. "Oh, alright then. Eat." However, there wasn't much left to eat. My cutlet was missing from the plate. Only she could have done it. No, more precisely, none but Elena could have done it. "Give me back my cutlet. I'm a big family, you snooze. In a big family, you snooze, you lose. It can cost you a cutlet if you are careless. Give it back, I'm telling you." I looked at her menacingly and I was about to reach out my hand. "See, I don't have it." And indeed, Elena's plate was empty. It seemed that this little girl eats as fast as she steals someone's cutlets. "Take it easy. We'll work something out now." She grabbed my plate and ran off. There was no point in following her. If they wanted to poison me here, they could have done it in a much easier way. About a minute later, Elena returned and handed me a plate with a steaming hot cutlet on it. "Here's one for the starving." "Thanks." It was all I could say. I was so hungry that my suspicions were gone in a flash. I picked up the cutlet with my fork and... What the? Some bug. No, not a bug. An insect. It got legs and wiggled. The plate fell to the floor and broke into pieces. The chair hit me hard on the leg while falling. I've disliked insects since I was a child, but when these creepy crawlies appear on my plate, that's just way too much. You little... Elena seemed ready for such a twist that I was already at the door, and laughing as if she had heard a fresh stand-up comedy joke. I dashed after her. We ran out of the canteen. We were just a few dozen meters apart, and I felt I would catch this little girl easily. We ran through the square, past the club's house, and ran into the forest path. I started to gasp for breath. I should have quit smoking, I guess. Elena passed out of sight on the next turn. It can't be true that she managed to get away from me. It simply can't. I stopped and tried to catch my breath again. Night was falling. Looks like I'm lost. It's a bad idea to stay in the woods at night. Better get back to camp. However, I had absolutely no clue which way to go. Well, gotta choose at random. I think this is where the bus was. I wandered for quite some time in the forest, and even thought of crying for help, but finally I saw the camp's fence beyond the trees. Everything's fell back into place. The bus is gone. I mumbled quietly. On the one hand, there was nothing strange about that. The bus couldn't just stay there forever. On the other hand, it meant there was someone driving, because buses do not drive themselves. Or do they? This world seemed too normal, but every event here had at least two explanations for it. An ordinary, real, everyday explanation, and a surreal one. Certainly, the driver could have just been off for a snack, and I left too soon, and that's why. In any case, this is not the place for me. Whether that bus drives itself or not was probably an important question, but it was much more important to know how I got here at all, and where this here was. The fields and the woods stretching towards the horizon had no answers. There was nothing familiar about them. A strange, odd, and alien world. However, at the same time, it was absolutely not frightening. Either my self-preservation instinct decided to resign from its job, or all this running around the camp and the local pioneers had lulled me with so much of their carefree normality that I was simply forgetting what had happened to me just a couple hours ago. Although I probably just had no strength left to worry. All I wanted for some peace, calmness. I wanted to just have a break from it all, and only after that would I continue looking for answers, ready and reloaded. However, that would be some time later. And what about now? Can I allow myself to relax? It got completely dark, and in any case, it was better to spend the night in the camp. I was about to head back when someone came up silently from behind. "Hello, what are you doing here so late?" It was Sleva standing before me. I was so surprised that I jumped. "So, you didn't catch Elena, did you?" She smiled. I nodded disappointingly and sighed. "No wonder. No one ever has." Yeah, she's a real rocket girl. She could have found a better use for her energy than looking for adventures. "You must be hungry. You didn't manage to have dinner after all." Indeed, I had completely forgot about my hunger, but after these words of hers, my stomach drew attention to itself by giving a traitorous rumble. Like that. Slava smiled. "Let's go then." "What, is the canteen still open?" "It's alright. I have the keys." "The keys?" "Yes, I have keys to all the facilities in this camp." "How come?" "Well, I'm something like the camp's leader aside here." "I see. Well, let's go." It was an offer you can't refuse. When we reached the square, Slava stopped in her tracks. "Excuse me, I should have warned my roommates that I'll be late. She's so punctual herself that she'll be worried otherwise. You go on to the canteen. I'll come up in a minute, alright?" "Alright." I really did not expect to find somebody aside from myself there at such a late hour. And that somebody was apparently trying hopelessly to open the door. Without any secret thoughts, I walked up to the porch. A lockpicker turned out to be Alyssa. I should have probably kept off and waited. She looked at me intently for a while and then said, "Don't just stand there. Give me a hand or something." "Meaning?" "Help me open the door." "Why?" "'Cause I want some buns and kirif. Dinner wasn't big enough." Is that really a good idea? "Aren't you hungry yourself, huh?" "Yelena didn't let you have a normal dinner, did she?" She smiled sarcastically. "It's true, she didn't. It's fine, Slava will come now and..." "What?" Guess I shouldn't have said that. "I'm off then. And you'll pay for this. You owe me 2 already." Having said that, Alyssa disappeared into the night. And what was the first one? Slava didn't keep me waiting for too long. "Is everything alright?" "Yeah. Why are you asking?" "No reason. It's nothing." It would be better if I didn't tell her about Alyssa. "Everything's fine." I said that, immediately heard a note of dishonesty in my voice. "Well, shall we go?" As for Slava, she seemed not to have noticed anything, or at least she was pretending she didn't. We entered the canteen. "Wait a bit. I'll go get something." I sat down on a chair and obediently waited for my savior. My dinner was simple, a few buns and a glass of kalif. No wonder. I bet hungry pioneers finished everything off. However, even that was far better than most of my usual diet. Slava sat across the table and looked at me while I was eating. "Is there something on my face?" "No, just..." She smiled. "So, how did you like your first day at the camp?" "Well, I don't really know. It's silly to ask someone who suddenly found himself in a different reality whether he liked the food in the canteen, the camp leader, or his assigned hut." "It's alright. You'll soon get used to it." Slava stared at the window dreamily. Frankly speaking, I have no desire to get used to such things, but as for her, she doesn't know. Or at least she wants me to think that she doesn't. Well, all in all, it's nice here. I had to somehow break the awkward silence. Do you think so? She asked without any interest. Yeah, this place is so, I wanted to say retro, but I managed to hold that back. After all, it was retro for me, but what about them? It might be the only kind of life they knew. If the term life was applicable here at all. So how? She watched me closely, as if something important depended on my answer. Well, I don't know. Lovely. Yeah, it's lovely here. I guess you're right. She smiled again. It's very good that you think so. Why? Well, not everybody likes it here. And what about you? Me? Yes. I love it here. It's great. Then you don't need to worry about what other people think. Well, I don't really worry. Slava laughed. This conversation seemed to be leading me far astray from where I wanted to get to. And you're worried yourself? Really? Why do you say so? Well, when someone is chewing so intensely... I'm sorry. It's okay. I couldn't bring myself to be more cautious around this girl. But why her in particular? Why not any other local inhabitant? Every one of them looked completely normal to me. Precisely normal. So normal it sends chills down my spine and into my marrow. Normal, not like the neighbor with a power drill in one hand and a subwoofer in the other. Not like a passenger you can often meet in a subway or on a public transport. Not like a co-worker at the next table in an open plan office. And not even like a friend who only differs from other humans and is constant and sensitive. Whoa, I need to get another drink. Oh! It's quite difficult when you're sitting here doing this. All of them looked normal, as if I would expect them to be, with their own downsides but without any superpowers. And Slava was also cute? I glanced at her stealthily, not knowing what to say. I'm sorry, I wanted to show you the camp, but was ran off my feet. I didn't miss anything while on my own, I guess. Are you sure you haven't missed anything at all? Her eyes open up. She smiled so brightly that I had to drop my eyes in confusion. Well, how would I know? It's my first day here. Okay, and what have you seen so far? I've seen the square, this canteen, the football field. And what about the beach? Just from afar. You really should go there. Let's do it together. Yeah, okay, we will. Her naturalness started to scare me, but then I thought, what if everything that happens here is how it's supposed to be, and this world looks strange only to me, while for them it is normal? Maybe I was thrown into the past. Yes, that would explain a lot. Can I ask a stupid question? No. Slava smiled and stood up from the table. It's late. Can you find the way to Olga by yourself? Of course I can, but why should I go there? She'll settle you with someone. What for? Probably this question seems stupid because Slava bursted into a good-natured laughter. You need to sleep somewhere, right? That makes sense. Fine, I'll be off then. Good night. Night. No kissy kissy? No kissy kissy? It's strange that she left in such a hurry. A bundle of keys left in the door that caught my attention. I was going to catch up with Slava, but where does she live? And knocking on every door during the middle of the night didn't sound like a bright idea. We're gonna take the keys. I better take them. I'll give them back tomorrow because who knows what happens here at night. Such thoughts gave me chills. It's me who needs to be careful here in the first place. The night, though dark, wasn't silent at all. One could hear chirping crickets, the songs of night birds, and rustling trees from everywhere. A sudden desire to follow Slava's advice and go to the camp leader's cabin appeared. I don't know why, but the sight of the unknown bronze builder of communism put me in a constructive mood. I sat on the bench and started to recall everything that happened today. That was all my constructive mood could offer. Here was much brighter than near the canteen, and tardy pioneers were running by, so this place didn't seem scary at all. Bus, Summer camp. Girls. I was so tired from everything new and strange that I could not come up with a single explanation for what was going on. I heard a barely noticeable rustle nearby. I shivered and looked in that direction. A girl! Reading a book. Lena. I decided to move closer and talk. She was the only new person I had met here without exchanging even a few words. Hi, what are you reading? Lena was so surprised that she even jumped. Sorry, didn't mean to scare you. Never mind. She blushed and stared at the book again. So what are you reading? On the cover was written, Gone with the Wind. Huh. Well, I'm not much of a reader, but I'm not playing myself. Let's praise the book. A good book. Thanks. Honestly speaking, I haven't read it, but I think that such literature suits her very well. Lena didn't seem to be interested in continuing the conversation. Well, if I'm bothering you... No. She answered while still looking at the book. Can I sit beside you for a while? Why? And really, why? Maybe just because I was very tired and having company is better than being alone. Maybe I wanted to try and find something out from her. I carefully examined Lena. But no, I doubt that. Well, I don't know. I'm not allowed to? Feel free. But if I'm bothering you... No, you're not. I can leave, just say. Everything's alright. Okay then. I sat on the end of the bench carefully. After such an intense talk, staying here was the last thing I wanted. But it wouldn't be nice to just stand up and leave. That didn't really go well, huh? Lena hasn't answered anything. It seems I made a fool out of myself. I bet if Elena was here, she'd have a good laugh at me. Do you enjoy being here? I recalled the Slave's question and thought it would be a good start for a conversation. Yes. She smiled slightly. I guess I like it too. Lena definitely isn't very sociable and probably can't carry on a meaningless conversation as easily as Slava. But there was something about her that attracted attention, like a momentary glimpse of a reflection in the grass on a rainy autumn evening, which makes you turn around and stare into darkness, searching for something that you saw out of the corner of your eye. Of course, you weren't able to distinguish or understand what it was, but it still felt so tempting. These sentences are long, man. I'm having troubles. I need more water going through. And I just said going through again. Dang. Lena was still reading the book without paying any attention to my presence. And I had no intention of asking her anything about this camp or this world in general. Beautiful night. Yes. How in the world would you start a conversation with her? It's late. I have to go. Yes, it's quite late. Good night. Night. There's something strange about this girl. At first glance, she is a typically shy and modest pioneer girl, but the mystery of Lena took its own place in the massive list of mysteries about this camp, which I had started to put together in my head. A lazy evening, and there's nothing like a good time with nothing to do. I headed towards Olga's cabin. The light in the house was on. Hello, Simone. You're quite late. Yeah. I went for a walk to look around the camp. Alright. You'd be sleeping in here. She pointed her finger at one of the beds. Right here? I was a bit surprised. Yeah, is something wrong? We're out of free cabins anyway. The camp leader smiled, but I'd rather think it was just out of politeness. Do you want to be a decent pioneer? You do want to be a decent pioneer, don't you? There was a clear emphasis on the word decent. Yep, sure. I was lost in thought for a moment. Don't you mind it, Manestrone? She looked at me oddly, with surprise and some offense in her eyes. Pioneers should respect their elders. Olga said strictly. Of course you should. No one argues with that. I battered, not realizing what was wrong. I don't know what was wrong. Holy moly. Shouldn't you also? She stared at me. Under such a gaze, even mentor forged by the best dwarf masters from the deepest dungeons would know. Should I what? What's up, Toots? Oh, Toots. That is not something you call a girl. I'm sorry, man. No, no, no. Annoyance and a lack of understanding made me raise my voice. You must address adults properly. Yes, of course. There are lots of strange things here. But this girl is just a couple years older than me. Or maybe even younger. But I decided not to argue. While just a few moments ago I would never have called her an adult, I have to admit that she was also given a strong character. In any case, I wasn't in a position to argue. As you say, ma'am, I mumbled. That's much better. That's how a decent pioneer should conduct himself. And now it's time to sleep. Honestly speaking, I was going to become neither a decent nor indecent pioneer. Just yesterday, I wasn't going to be a pioneer at all. But do I have a choice now? If you don't want to, we'll have to make you. This is the motto Olga was probably going to use. Oof. I climbed in onto the bed and closed my eyes, only to realize how tired I was after today. Something hammered in my head awfully, as if my brain's as startled a night shift, and they seemed to be aimed more at rolling steel than working on something more sensitive. The bus flew through my mind, and the square with the monument, the canteen full of pioneers, and the malicious face of Yolana. Slava. Lena. And even recalling Alyssa didn't give me too much of a negative feeling. What if I'm here for good? Alright guys, that is going to be the end of this part. So go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. And also check out our Indiegogo. Link is in the description down below. Make sure if you can't contribute for the Indiegogo, please share. Any help can work as it is. So I'll catch you guys next time.